We've all seen the videos. I renovated my entire bathroom for $500, or how I flipped this house with zero experience. It looks easy, it looks empowering, and most of all, it looks cheap. But as a construction consultant and an investigative journalist, I've spent 2 decades looking behind the drywall. And what I found isn't a dream, it's a financial massacre. Let me tell you about Mark. Mark wanted an open concept kitchen. He watched 6 hours of YouTube tutorials, rented a jackhammer, and knocked out a 10-foot section of wall on a Saturday morning. He saved $4,000 on a demolition crew. He felt like a hero. 6 months later, Mark noticed a hairline crack in his bedroom ceiling upstairs. A month after that, his front door wouldn't latch. By the time he called me, his second floor had shifted 2 inches. The money he saved on that wall? It cost him $62,000 in structural piering and cosmetic repairs. Plus, when he tried to refinance his home, the bank denied him because the work was unpermitted. Today, we are debunking the DIY is cheaper myth once and for all. I'm going to show you why your sweat equity might actually be sweat debt, and how the new truth of professional contracting is the only way to protect your biggest financial asset. The first lie we tell ourselves is simple math. The contractor quoted me $15,000. I can buy the materials for $5,000. Therefore, I'm saving $10,000. Is your time free? Because that's the first hidden cost. If you spend 100 hours on a project that a pro does in 20, you haven't saved money. You've just taken a second job that pays you less than minimum wage when you factor in the errors. Let's talk about the tool tax. A professional contractor owns a $500 wet saw, a $300 laser level, and a $1,000 dust extraction system. To do the job right, you have to buy or rent those. Most DIYers buy the cheap version of the tool. The cheap tool breaks, or worse, it's imprecise. An imprecise tool leads to crooked cuts, which leads to wasted material. Speaking of materials, did you know you're paying more for them than a pro? It's called builder pricing. As a consultant, I see the invoices. Contractors get volume discounts of 10% to 25% at supply houses that don't even talk to the general public. While you're paying retail for that on-sale flooring, the pro is getting the premium grade for less. And here is the investigative truth no one tells you: the 3-to-1 repair cost ratio. If you hire a pro to do a backsplash, it might cost $1,500. If you do it yourself, mess up the mastic, and the tiles start falling off in 6 months, a pro won't just fix it. They have to rip it out, repair the damaged drywall behind it, buy new materials, and then do the job. What was a $1,500 job is now a $4,500 repair. You didn't save $1,000. You spent $3,000 more than you ever had to. Is that really saving money? It's my house. Why do I need the city's permission to change a toilet or move a wire? I hear this every day. People think permits are just a government cash grab. While I agree that bureaucracy is a headache, the permit is actually your greatest legal shield. When you skip the permit, you aren't beating the system. You are voiding your safety net. Let's talk about insurance denials. Imagine you DIY a new electrical outlet in your garage. 2 years later, a wire shorts out and causes a fire. The fire department comes and the fire marshal investigates. They find that the fire started in an unpermitted electrical box. Your insurance company, whose entire business model is finding reasons not to pay, will look at that and say, this work wasn't inspected or performed to code. Claim denied. Now you're standing on a pile of ash with a $400,000 mortgage and $0 in coverage. Does that sound like a bargain to you? And let's talk about real estate disclosures. In today's market, buyers are savvy. When you go to sell that house, the buyer's inspector is going to look at your updated basement. They're going to cross-reference it with city records. When they see no permit was pulled, one of three things happens. The buyer walks. The buyer demands a permit credit, usually $10,000 to $20,000 off the price. The city appraiser forces you to rip out the drywall so they can inspect the hidden plumbing before they allow the sale to proceed. You've effectively turned your home into a toxic asset. You saved $500 on a permit fee only to lose $20,000 at the closing table. That isn't home improvement, that's financial sabotage. As a construction expert, this is the part that keeps me up at night. I call it the skeleton analogy. Your house is a living, breathing organism of physics. Every stud, joist, and rafter is there for a reason. Homeowners often look at a wall and think, it's just wood and nails. If I move it back 3 feet, the ceiling won't fall. Gravity doesn't care about your open concept vision. Gravity is constant. When you remove a minor wall without a structural engineer, you are shifting the load path. If you move a bone in the human body, the rest of the skeleton has to compensate. Your muscles strain, your gait changes, and eventually something snaps. Your house is the same. You remove a wall in the kitchen, and suddenly the rafters in the attic start to spread. The weight of the roof is now pushing out on your exterior walls instead of down into the foundation. This is what we call a catastrophic latent defect. It doesn't happen instantly. It happens over a winter when a heavy snow load hits the roof, or during a high wind event. A professional contractor understands point loads. They know that if they put a beam in, that weight has to go somewhere, usually all the way down to a new concrete footing in your basement. DIYers almost never go into the crawl space to see if the floor can handle the new weight. If you aren't calculating kips, tributary loads, and soil PSI, you aren't renovating. You're gambling with the lives of the people inside that house. So what is the new truth? The new truth is that hiring a licensed, insured contractor isn't an expense. It is a capital investment. When you hire a pro, you aren't just paying for their labor. You are buying 3 things that DIY can never provide. When an appraiser sees a contractor renovated home, the value spikes. When they see a DIY renovated home, they start looking for flaws. The professional finish provides long-term equity. You might spend $10,000 more today, but you'll gain $30,000 in resale value tomorrow. That's a 200% return on investment. Efficiency is doing things right. Effectiveness is doing the right things. The right thing for your family's safety and your financial future is to step away from the sledgehammer and pick up the phone. Look, I love the spirit of DIY. I love the idea of working with your hands. But your home isn't a craft project. It's your retirement fund. It's your children's shelter. It's the biggest check you'll ever sign. Stop gambling with your biggest asset. If you're planning a project, do it the right way. I've put together a contractor vetting checklist that I use for my private clients. It includes the 10 questions most homeowners forget to ask and the 3 red flags that mean you should run the other way. Click the link in the description to download it for free. Use it to find a partner who will build it right the first time. Because at the end of the day, saving money is only a win if the house is still standing and sellable when you're done. Build smart, build safe, and I'll see you in the next one.